All right, welcome into the Can We Kick It podcast. I'm your host Mike, along with Chuck here.
What up?
What's up, Chuck?
Nothing much, man. Been a minute.
It has been a minute. We've been a little busy, hadn't we?
Too busy.
Yeah, too busy to do our second job, as we like to call it.
Yeah, we got to make sure we make some time, man. I did work has been way too busy,
Yeah,
but it's all good. We got some bunch of travel coming up too, some for
yep,
personal, some for work. So, uh, not too bad. Got
yeah,
to squeeze in the second job, but
yeah.
I was at the office one day last week from like 7 in the morning to 7 at night,
Oh,
and one of our coworkers who you just mentioned offline was still there when I left, and that
yeah.
person was there when I got there.
Dude, remember when we used to just do that when we had to go to the office every day, and now we don't.
Yeah,
I don't miss it.
yeah. I don't know how we worked before COVID.
Yeah, I don't either. I guess it was just
So
normal. But yeah, so yeah, getting caught up on TV. There's a lot going on. We're going to talk True Detective, the latest episode from now that we're in the night country, according to according to Rudolph Hess. Um, and then Tokyo Vice started back up. We won't get into that, but that's 3 episodes deep. Um, what else?
yeah, we'll have
There's
to
just
talk about that next week. Well,
yeah,
a little bit next week. I've
yeah.
got
We'll talk the finale
behind,
of
so
Night Country, and then yeah, we'll pick up on Tokyo Vice. So it's good stuff, man. The Super Bowl just happened. That was last Sunday. Congrats to the Chief. The script went off as planned for the NFL. So
Swifties,
good
Swifties,
for
Swifties.
to God. Good for her. She just started watching football for her first season, and her team already won the Super Bowl. What a crock of shit, man.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah. I mean,
it was a good game. I didn't really plan on watching it, and then it went into overtime and hooked me in.
well, yeah. I mean, it was very slow until the
Yeah,
like fourth quarter, but even then, it still wasn't a very good game. It was still long and kind of.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, Taylor Swift reminds me of like Yankees and Cowboys fans, right?
yeah,
It's like my team won. Like, oh, you mean that team in New York, and you've never stepped foot out of Arizona,
yeah.
or it's like.
You bought that T-shirt at Walmart. I get it.
But at least Taylor Swift is having adult relationship with one of the players.
I
So
know
you got to
Patrick
support
Mahomes.
your man.
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty good. Maybe she'll blow up now. She can sell some albums. I mean, she's
Yeah,
on the scene now.
maybe finally she'll start selling some records.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking
I,
forward to the
I,
reality TV show Taylor and the Kelseys. Really looking forward to that new.
I,
That should be a band, Taylor and the Kelseys. That's
I,
trademark.
I I'm more. I would love to watch Taylor and Friends. Um, Blake Lively was in the box,
Yep, she was.
and
Yeah,
then
I mentioned like they would have that, and Jackie said, "Oh, she would never be on that." And I said, "She'll just always be off camera. Like they'll just talk about her in the third person, and she'll
yeah,
just never be on camera. Like, oh, she's always on tour. Yeah,
and they'll be like, "How's Taylor doing?" And then Travis is like, "No, she's in Argentina." And they're like, you hear her just piping through the house, like she's like, you know,
yeah,
coming through Amazon.
yeah.
But
She's she's his girlfriend from Canada. Yeah,
she goes to a different school.
yeah, yeah, man.
But
Yeah, I was wrong. I said it was going to be the least watched Super Bowl, and it turned out to be like the most streamed
yeah,
program in the history
yeah,
of TV.
the most yeah, the most watched Super Bowl or something. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, you were way
So
off.
yeah, I'm not in the societal norm on that one. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
but I mean, don't downplay the power of the Swifties.
true, true.
So,
What else you been watching, man? Other than the Super Bowl, we had anything else you been watching?
uh, well, went through and rewatched season 1 and 2, and then the first episode of the new season of Resident Alien, which is my
Yeah,
background here. Um, it's on Sci-Fi Network, but I watch it on Peacock. Um, it's like hilariously stupid funny, and I was playing clips of it for Mike before we got on, but um, it's not like prestigious or it's something fun to watch in the background.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
good laugh. Yeah.
but I find myself when I watch that show, I'm not even looking at my phone. like high like Succession, I'll like look at my phone, like or like it's a long scene of people talking, and like
Yeah.
that show, I'm like glued to my screen. Don't want to miss any gems of comedy.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's great.
but it's kind of like Night Country because there's a Native American aspect to it
Hmm.
in the town. So there's uh, Native people in the show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah,
Pretty
it's
popular these
a
days. Yeah.
very loose connection to Detective.
Yeah. Yeah, I just started Curb Your Enthusiasm season 12 just started and
Hmm.
it's picked up right where he's left off. I mean, it's hilarious. Like I saw a meme about like Taylor Swift songs like Get Women and like their everyday struggle. And it was like, is there something for men like that? And it was just a picture of Larry David. And I was like, yeah, that's about right. It's just going through life just pissed off about everything.
All the struggles of the white male.
That's right. Yeah. Cisgender white male. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, man. But other than that, Night Country is really heating up. I know it's in Alaska and it's cold as hell, but it's such a good show. I don't know about you. Give me your like out of five, number five being like the highest, like the best. Give this show so far without the finale yet, because the finale's this coming week. Where how would you rate this season? Just so far.
so I got two different like kind of competing views that I have on the show. Part of me would give it like a four something, like a four because of the bonkersness and the setting and the connectivity, loose connectivity, season one, um, and some of the acting. And then part of me wants to give it a one because it's like it's a 10 episode show jammed into 6 episodes,
True.
and so like a lot of stuff that pays off or happens, and there's still so much to be done in this series to wrap everything up with just 1 episode left. It's like when the major sequence of episode five happened, like I'm like, okay. I mean, it was crazy, but it's like we don't we didn't get we don't you don't get too deep into the background of characters, right?
True.
So like there was 1 episode left. We still don't know like how Liz's son and husband die. We can assume, or they died. We can assume it was a drunk driving crash or some kind of crash, or a polar bear with one eye ate them. I don't know, but
That'd
um,
be ironic.
like a perfect example of what I'm talking about is like in this episode with Leah, Danvers' daughter, and her white girlfriend is the daughter of the mine lady, and they're like all hyped up for the protest, and we've seen her on screen like twice and has never said a word, or three times. And then it's like when the protest is going on and shit starts to the fan, she just looks at her and kind of walks away. And you're
Yeah.
like, I don't really feel bad for Leah because to me they're just like have gone out on a couple of days. Like I don't like what
Yeah.
we don't know the history of these people.
Yeah, I like how this season makes like builds these characters and then they put them in these situations that you're like asshole. And then you're supposed to feel bad for him all of a sudden, like Peter's dad, like getting
Yeah,
like left at the airport by his like Russian fake bride. And then like
yeah.
yeah, Leah and her friend just takes off after she gets conked in the head. And it's just like, yeah, you like put yourself in that situation. Like I
Well,
don't feel
and
bad for any of them.
I think that, I mean, I think we just have to start kind of in episode 5. I mean, there's some Hank and Pete stuff this episode, and Hank reminds him of saving Pete's life as he slipped through the ice skating or
Right.
something. But and then Hank's song, but Pete can't even just knock on the door. He has to call and about he's right outside about possibly staying there.
Yep.
And then, but then, I called Hank being one of the bad
Catfish.
guys in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I said, and then of course it turns out he did, and we find that he moved Danny's body into town.
Yep.
And he is basically the mine lady's lackey on the
Yeah.
promise that he was going to be captain of the police or sergeant or whatever. But then Christopher Eccleston's character put Danvers out there,
Yep.
and it's like it just doesn't seem that like someone who like was into the music, like he sang his own song, and he just seems kind of that he would just become this lady's lackey for a promotion and a little more money or something, right? Like, and to
Yeah.
move this body, and then when Pete shoots him, like as
Yeah.
he, it's a convenient plot point that it's like, don't go stay with your dad. Come stay at my shed. Here's the key. And Pete goes and stays in the shed, and there's no air. It's just like there's no insulation, and he's supposed to sleep outside in like
There's
negative
no
40-degree
bed. It's
weather.
it's just like a lawn
Yeah,
chair. He's like he just sits
it,
down and he's like, well, like what?
but it's made conveniently plot point to get um
Yeah, for him to be
him
there.
there,
Yeah.
where in a 10 episode show this may play out more, and you may have seen like he comes over, and you could have made it where like that's where he goes to get away. Liz lets him go stay there to get out of
Yeah.
the house or away from his dad, or you could have made it differently to get him
Or
in the
maybe she
house.
was gonna Mrs. Robinson him. Like, here,
Yeah,
go stay at my place. I'll be there in a couple hours. And he's like, oh boy. Like, yeah.
but then and then Hank, who says I'm not a bad guy, and the only thing he's done is move the body. As soon as um, Rudolph Hess, full of heroin that Danvers finds, comes back with like no problem. Like, all right, you want some heroin to get okay. Um, like as soon as he walks away, like Hank has no qualms, just like capping him.
Popping him. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just there's such a lack of, and then when
It-
Pete pops Hank, you know, I don't. If this was longer and more in depth, you feel bad for Pete or Hank, but then I'm like, well, I feel bad for either of them,
yeah.
like or any sympathy, um, because I don't. We don't know much Pete's background, but anyway, that's kind of like the long.
Yeah.
It, I think this had the potential to be really, 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 really good, and it's still fun to watch,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll see
It
how the
hasn't
finale
dissuaded
pays
me from
off.
watching it. Yeah. It's just,
Yeah,
it's just not in the same league as the first season. Like, I'd give it a
yeah,
4 because season 1 is a 5. I might even give it a
yeah,
3.5. But
yeah,
it's a cool concept. It's in a place where it's always nighttime. Does it feel rushed?
yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and last week's episode, we didn't really talk about it on the podcast, but like, Navarro's sister like kills herself,
Yeah,
like by walking off into the ice, and then within like 3 hours, the Coast Guard like find her body
it
at
was like
night.
it was like 45 minutes. It was
Yeah.
even like 3 hours.
So it's just like you're just like jamming all of this in just to fit like the whole story narrative. But yeah, that is the one knock on this season, and it's getting ripped apart on Reddit and all that stuff. I'm enjoying it. It's not dissuading me from watching it, but I agree.
Yeah.
It's no season 1 for sure.
Well, and that's the interesting part because it's getting smoked on Reddit, and
Yeah.
there's like zero positive um commentary
Yeah,
on this on Reddit. And even when I listen to other podcasts and um professionals talk about it, they're like kind of preface it as saying they're watching it, but or they have a lot, they're picking a lot of nits with
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
But I don't, if this wasn't the True Detective franchise, I think it would be getting ripped. I mean, I think critically it'd be getting ripped apart. But there's,
yeah,
I mean,
probably.
it's, I don't know, it's hard to make this show because the season one was like perfect television.
Yeah, I think it being in the True Detective category really makes it hard to make this show what they wanted it to be because they had the
Hmm.
idea before they like put it into True Detective like lore. It's like, okay, if you want this to be like supernatural, just fucking make it that. But that's not what True Detective is, right? It's all like
Yeah.
this lore, but it's all explained by reasonable situations and stuff. And
Yeah.
it feels like the show really wants to go supernatural, but it's like getting like it's on a leash. So yeah, I
Well,
get it.
and that's why kind of my what I kind of feel at the end is going to be it's not going to be supernatural.
Yeah,
There's, they're leading up to this, but we're going to find out that basically, um, that there's something in the water that makes people hallucinate. Um,
from the mine, and people called it
yeah,
like episode 3. Like, yeah,
yeah, and that Annie K was finding um, all this information about what the mind was doing, and because the midwife and the
yeah,
deaths of in
stillbirths, yeah,
and then somehow ended up in the cave, or was maybe going down in those little the ice caves of the mine that where they find where Rudolph Hess shows like, oh, here's my map. There, right there is where the entrance is. Just
yeah,
circles this like with no coordinates. It's just like
yeah,
a, a map, right? So,
yeah. That
um,
he mapped like 20 years ago, and the guy's been
yeah,
hooked on heroin ever since. So I'm glad he
yeah,
can actually remember where he's at. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad he got back on the sauce, before he
yeah.
died.
Not for long. Yeah, he definitely didn't go out without a high. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, so like yeah, last episode, right? Like Navarro's sister dies, and then like Navarro confronts the lighthouse, which is like this place where like mental illness and like drug rehab is. Um I don't understand the whole connection with like it the connection with like Salal and the mine and Tuttle, like United, Tuttle International, whatever it is, feels completely half used. It's like, I get like Tuttle is huge and everything, but like, are we going to make a connection to season one that like they're all into some super weird conspiracy shit, or are they just a conglomerate that's just assholes?
but I think it's kind of like both. I think they've kind of made this loose connection, so we know that. But I mean, in the first season, the Tuttles were like it just felt they were local to Louisiana, like
Yeah,
Louisiana
true.
government. Um, and Billy Ray Tuttle was like the governor, and then but it wasn't like it was some national
It didn't
like
feel
they
like
would
a
have
global conspiracy. Yeah,
research. I mean, if you have a cabal, right, like we
yeah,
do in the world, in the real world, it's not, Joe Biden's not just running the cabal. It's made up of all these other people.
yeah.
That
The Hildebergs or whatever. Yeah, they're all running those fucking meetings and shit.
Rosensteins and
Yeah,
Gildenkrantz,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Rothschilds and the
They they
Vanderbilts and
they took the Tuttles from being a local like predatory religious cult to an
yeah,
international conglomerate that's just got their fingers in every pie.
they're an NGO that funds the mining
Yeah.
and
And then
then or the
and
mining
Salal to like
donates.
yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, and they're like, yeah. In the last episode, Jodie Foster's gets called to the mine, like, and it's like, why
Oh, to
would
the
a police
protest.
person? Why would? Yeah, like, I'd be like, it, it's just very shady because Christopher Eccleston's there. It's like, what are
Yeah.
they? Um, there's a protest and they have their private security, and then the riot squad showed up, and I think Navarro hit or beat up
Yeah.
one of the own riot squad, not like their
Yeah.
security team. So what? Why did she go to the? Why did Jodie Foster get called to the mine? And why did she just hand all the paperwork over and then be like, "Well, the you guys donate this to law?" And they're like, "Yeah, we donate to a lot of people." And they're,
Yeah.
it's
That's not
like,
a crime.
so
Like, is it
it's like,
ethically wrong? Yeah, but in the aspect of these murders and stuff, that's not a crime. Like, you haven't made the connection that maybe Annie K found that out and was going to blow the whistle. Like, you haven't made that connection yet. So why are you presenting that? Like, why are you going to the table and being like, oh yeah, we'll check this shit out? And she's like, cool,
well,
we'll take a look into it.
so I got a question
Well,
for
we're
you.
really
So
ragging
like,
on it.
well, no, but it's I mean, we some shows we enjoy like this, and
Yeah,
For All Mankind, we can rag on because we love it, right?
true, true. I do love this show.
Um but in the first season you have Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, right? And they would be like the quintessential, like, true detective, or at least Matthew McConaughey. But when you look at Pete, um, Danvers, Navarro, are any of them true detectives? I mean, Danvers gives all the data away to people.
Yeah,
There's like,
she's like the only one that understands like how to ask questions, but goes about it like the completely wrong way.
but then whenever she visits the mine, she's like, here's all our detective work. Like,
Yeah,
and the detective work was Pete looking on the internet. Like, I guess
like
I think
real in
that's
depth.
where I think that's where people are having problems. It's like,
Yeah.
um, I mean, even in like, I can't remember season two, but season three, Mahershala Ali, and I think it's, I forget the other guy, not Steven Dorff, but maybe him. But
Billy Bob Thornton.
no, that was Fargo.
Hmm. Maybe
Season
it was
one.
Steven
No, but
Dorff.
I think it's Steven Dorff. But
Yeah,
like, Marshall Ali was like a good detective.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's been
I
asked
don't
frequently about this season. Are any of them actually good detectives?
know. And then like Jodie Foster's being tailed the entire episode by her boss in a big black SUV, and
Yeah,
you're like,
by Pete Stan, which I'm never gonna remember his fucking name, but yeah,
oh, Hank, yeah,
Hank. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
John Hawkes.
She's like being followed by him because Eccleston no the so we find out that Hank is on the mine's payroll. So she wants him to make Rudolph Hess go away. Oh, he's a
Hmm.
junkie, like it could happen, whatever. And then like he like follows her like right into the police station and she's like, what the hell are you doing here? And it's like, you're the only three people in the station. What do you think he's doing there? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very
but
rushed.
like,
Very rushed.
yeah, I think this would have been better served for. I mean, because I think I have to look back at season two and season three, but season one was 10 episodes,
Yeah.
and they're all bangers. Like, they're just amazing, and
Yeah.
this it just feels like, so at the end, with what happens at the end, and you even have like the whole in season one, the whole like, not fake ending, but the first where they find the
Yeah. The
I
farm.
forget the yeah, and they have the shootout. They kill those
Yeah.
people there.
That's like their
They
Wheeler
find
case. Like,
yeah, but it's like actually fucking awesome.
yeah,
Like,
it
like,
slaps. Yeah.
yeah, and then you're like, oh, this ain't even it. That's not even the guy.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's the mentally challenged person
Yeah,
that paints
yeah,
schools green.
yeah.
Um,
The green-eared monster. Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know. I think it needed more time. I think it needed more
yeah,
episodes. I don't want to shit on it, and because I think the supernatural stuff and the like kind of jump scare stuff is pretty
yeah,
good, like horror
yeah.
kind of thing. But I don't associate the show with horror, but
No,
it's different. And the good thing with like anthology stuff, it, it can be different.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be the same.
It doesn't have to
So,
follow the same map. Yeah, you can mix up the recipe a little bit. I think that's what I'm enjoying about this season. Coming from the first one, yeah, it was great. It's tops, and it's suspenseful, and you get the fake out with the two brothers right at the farm shootout, Ruby
mhm.
Ridge. And then this one, like you get like the scare factor because it's like at night, and then like the last episode where Navarro and Danvers go on the dredge machine, and they're like
Yeah.
walking around, and then like Navarro's sitting in front of that Christmas tree and like her ears are like blown out, which I guess wasn't that big a deal because nothing happened in the next episode.
We never find, there's no mention of it. Like,
No,
Danvers isn't asking, "Are you okay? Should we get you to the hospital?" Like,
yeah,
it's,
nothing. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we deal with Navarro's sister Julia, like she like gets cremated, and you're like watching her do the process, and it's very like morbid. Like the season's very morbid.
Well,
Um,
and that's so the positives about this episode was a cremation scene, which, you know, was eerily kind of beautiful because you don't think
yeah,
about the process of it.
true.
Um, and then the scene where Danvers goes and checks out the uh,
Oh, the
kid
bodies.
grave shack
Yeah,
because they can't bury him because it's too
it's too
cold.
cold.
The
Yeah,
ground's frozen. I mean, just like stuff you don't think about, and that's
yeah,
what's cool about the setting is like, the Louisiana setting was very true to that, and I mean, we're more familiar from that from down here, but
true.
like some of the setting stuff is good,
Yeah,
and the concepts are good.
yeah,
It just feels rushed,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
and that's the thing. Speaking of feeling rushed, let me ask you, what do you think's going to happen in the finale? Because I have no idea. Like, maybe we talk through that real quick.
Yeah, and the funny thing, leading up to that is, so like Pete said, Danvers, hanging out in her shed. Danvers is there, and she's got Hess, and I'm guessing she got the heroin out of the evidence lockup. I didn't really
Yeah.
wasn't really paying attention, but I'm assuming that's where she got it. Hank's following her. Love how he parked his truck just like right in her driveway. So if he goes missing, they'll be like, "Oh, he was last parked at Danvers like last night, whatever."
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like so, like he goes in there and he like takes Danvers' gun and like what? How did you think this was gonna go? Other than just like popping everybody off, did you think they were just gonna let you like walk out of there with this guy and it was all gonna be no way, dude? Like
Well,
so, yeah.
I think it was he was planning in there to be suicide by
Suicide by heroin.
Danvers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
Well,
then and
no,
then
but
suicide Danvers. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like, I mean, Hank suicide by Danvers,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
um,
Pull a wheeler. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just, I mean, he had nothing.
I think
His
that's
son
just
hates
another.
him. His
I
getting,
think it's another
you know,
testament to like the like level of police work in this town is like he can't even do that right.
well, and to me, I think the two best performances in this, I think John Hawkes Hank is the best. I mean,
Oh, by far.
and Navarro's awesome as well. But I mean, John Hawkes, I mean, I know him from Eastbound and Down as a brother. He's, it's just Kenny Powers' brother,
Yeah,
Dusty Powers. But he's
he's
really,
crushing it. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
not
he
anymore.
gets
He's
he gets like
dead.
yeah, not anymore. Yeah, he gets like 2 minutes an episode, and the guy just puts up like 20 points. I mean, he does great with the scenes he's given, and he's got a range that, I mean, they want us to feel bad for him. I don't fucking feel bad for him, but I get it. But it's like a part of being in that town is like there's only so much you can work with, right? So like
Yeah.
he may be from Ennis and he may be the sheriff, but like, is he really that great? Like, no, like it's the best they have to work with. And um, yeah, he like tries to take Heiss, whatever his name is, Oliver Heiss.
Otis Heist.
Yeah, Otis, that's it. And like shoots him and then kills him and
Yeah.
then turns on Danvers, and that's when Pete walks in and caps his dad, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Pete just like falls apart, and then like Navarro comes in, and I love how they like make Pete clean up, like, hey, scrub your dad's brains off the wall while you're
Uh,
at it, like clean and clean good.
yeah, the greatest line of this season so far was "You clean and you clean good," or "clean good." It's
Yeah.
like,
And then
um,
Navarro tells him, like, when you're done, take the bodies. And it's like, first of all, in what? Like, I hope you got a tarp. Um,
yeah,
she's gonna have to cram like two bodies into the car.
yeah,
And then she tells him to take him to Rose's because she's gonna
yeah,
dump him in the ice, which is amazing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's like
and
Rose, like Winston Wolfe from the Pulp Fiction, or what?
yeah, from Pulp Fiction,
She's
she's the fixer. Like, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I love how Rose is like willing to just do whatever, like just because Navarro is like cool with her. Like, hey, I have like these two bodies, I need to dump them. Like Navarro said, I could come here and put them where her sister is.
yeah,
But yeah, so like it pops off to that, and it ends up with them like they're headed to where the ice is thinnest, I guess, right? And I think they figure out that
yeah,
that's at Salal at the research facility, because they end
yeah,
up at the research facility, and Danvers has figured out that when like the recording when uh, Raymond Clark has like his seizure thing, like the power
yeah.
goes out. And the same thing happened to Annie down in the tunnel. It's like the power goes out
Mm.
right before they're attacked. So it's like, okay, is it staged because it's not so much supernatural? Um, there. So you asked me how this is going to end up. Like they're going to be at Salal. I think Raymond Clark is going to be there. The power goes out. Like something's about to happen. I don't know the intention of why people are dying off.
Well, I think we like. I mean, if you watch the scenes from next week, there is. I mean, we're gonna see Clark.
Yeah,
There's a spoiler warning. There's a scene where they're in Salal Station. Navarro's got Clark tied up with a gun pointed at him. Now, that's the thing. Like, what is going to be resolved? What
yeah,
what? So this whole after like the first episode, everything's been about the Annie K case. Nothing's been about the Salon. And even in episode 5, when Jodie Foster is called to the Danvers is called to the mine, Eccleston's like, it was a slab avalanche.
yeah. It
Case
was
case closed. And she's
case
like,
closed.
okay. She's like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
we're just gonna leave it at that. Like that's what the people in Anchorage told you, was that it was an avalanche. Really? Like I hear all these theories about how like it's gonna be like the natives are turning against like the mining and the science
yeah,
facility, and Oliver Kovic has got a hand in it. I am 99% sure none of that has anything to do with it. And just like in the first season where like the Tuttles are implicated in like this generations long like predatory thing, like nothing really happened to them. I don't expect anything to happen to the mine. Like maybe the woman like gets replaced, but they're owned by the Tuttle, so it'll just be somebody else who's just as bad.
yeah,
We're not taking down a giant. We're just talking about solving a murder.
yeah. What are the chances that Annie K and the scientist are not related? Like
Oh
the
yeah,
murder.
100%. I don't think they're related at all.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm wondering if the avalanche was really something that happened.
It could have been. Like
or like,
Danvers and Navarro are so hell-bent on that these guys died from something unnatural that
yeah,
it's a self-reinforcing narrative and they just keep seeing shit that's like supernatural that keeps reinforcing
hmm
it. Like the stone with the spiral on it. The guy said like when they were kids, they used to put them over thin ice to keep kids away from falling in them. That's a pretty basic, like rational explanation that
hmm
like to us is like serious shit because it has to do with the Tuttles and the Yellow King.
yeah,
I think they're just brushing that all to the side.
yeah. Like this is. I'm going to give you two kind of theories, and
Yeah.
the show's probably going to be somewhere in between. Like, I think one way it could end is basically when they say like she's awake or something. Um, in there, it's the one-eyed polar bear, you
Could
know,
be.
and they
Could be
all
female.
run out or something. I don't know how they get their clothes off, but then they're all outside running from the polar bear, and they start to go like they run away, but they're lost, and then they're like kind of hallucinating for whatever reason, and they're all
Hypothermia set
huddled
in. Yeah.
together for warmth, and an avalanche comes. But then I don't understand how there's an avalanche where they're in the middle of this ice thing, right? That's the other thing. There's no like big pile of snow they dig them out from like an
No.
avalanche. So, but anyway, like let's say that's the explanation, and then so it's unrelated from Annie K, but Annie K was, you know, found something in the mine, and Clark was telling about what Clark was dating her, was telling her about what they were doing and how they were fudging stuff, and then they were investigating this mine stuff, and um, somebody down there, maybe Christopher Eccleston's character, that one guy from the mine that was Navarro went into the dorm room, or the redheaded chick that showed up at the laundromat who just keeps popping in. She's been in like three or four episodes. The crab lady,
Yeah.
with three fingers, like she killed Annie K. Maybe she's not real, like, but
Maybe they're all in hell. Maybe this is hell.
I mean, so like they basically, um, there's something in this like whole the spiral thing in the trailer, like that all could be like stuff planted by the mind to throw them off of like just a very simple murder of any
It's
K.
possible. Yeah.
Or like all be connected, and fucking Navarro is like the sea goddess Sedona and is gone crazy and doesn't remember killing everybody.
She does not
Or
know her Inupiat
or
name. It's probably
yeah.
Sedona
Or what,
or
yeah,
Senda,
whatever the sea
whatever it is.
goddess, yeah,
Yeah.
Senda. And the other thing is, when you go down in the ice cave, and it's the fucking green-eared spaghetti monster down there. Like he's like the sin eater from Fargo. Like he's
Yeah.
just an immortal being. I mean, I could go any direction, but if you think about it, if you base it in reality, your killers. We know Hank said he didn't kill
Yeah. He didn't kill her.
her, just
He
with his
just moved the
body.
body. Yeah. So we know Hank's out.
So then you have Mine Lady, Kavik, Navarro, Danvers, um, Pete's wife, and like the redheaded crab lady and her boyfriend. I think those would be like, you don't spend time with, or Christopher Eccleston's character. But you don't spend time with anybody else. Like,
Yeah.
other
You
than
can't
that, it's
reveal
just
a
going to
bad
be,
person. Like you can't reveal the murderer to be somebody you've never seen before.
yeah. Or that's why I keep thinking. I mean, the redheaded lady keeps popping up. Um, like it was New Year's Eve, and the grandma laundry lady went to Fairbanks for the
Yeah,
dentist, even
the
though there's a
dentist.
dentist in town next to the police station. And the redhead lady just comes in to do laundry, like walks right by them when they're talking about when is that when Comic shows up with a stone with like the guy from the bar is like, hey, here's your stone back, and like I found this guy at the bar who said like grandpa said this is how we used to mark
Yeah,
the thin ice. Like, but it's funny when they say that nobody else in the town when they saw that symbol, like, I'm just thinking like the rock cairns when you climb, when you go to hiking and stuff. And it's like, it's very similar. It's just marking the trail. And if this is like, these were used, these rocks with these spirals to mark thin ice. Well, I would think Navarro and Danvers would know, you know, unless it was specific to that one guy's family. Like his name is Jimmy Tuttle.
yeah, right. Yeah, Hank Tuttle Jr. Yeah.
Hank Tuttle Jr. I don't know. What do you think's gonna happen?
So we know Hank moved the body,
Mm-hmm.
and he did so at the behest of the mine. So the
Mm-hmm.
mine was aware that Annie K was down in the ice tunnels, which means the mine has a presence to be down in the ice tunnels for some reason.
Yeah.
It's got to be that
Yeah.
they're fudging the global warming numbers. Raymond
It's
Clark
all.
and
It's
Annie K were gonna blow the whistle, but they didn't manage to kill Raymond Clark. But why would he hang around so long afterwards?
yeah. Why wouldn't he just burn town, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't know.
nothing makes sense. But
Nothing.
I usually
I could
don't care
We
about
could
stuff
take it in 100
making.
different directions. Yeah.
I would at least like the show to come to some conclusion that makes. It doesn't have to close everything, but give me some kind of something that makes sense.
If if this show ends and they just leave the scientist died in an avalanche and don't put any like other definition behind it, I'm gonna be fucking pissed because that was the trailer for this show. Was that these
Yeah.
scientists died in a freakish way, and we're just gonna chalk it up to an avalanche? I'm gonna be
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and I was reading somewhere and they were like, you tell me that there's this corpsicle in this town and all these people are dying and not one newspaper, not even like
There's not
one
even a
from
news van.
Fairbanks or
Yeah,
yeah, or there or like doing like investigative news stories on this.
yeah. There's KAKL is not in town doing this story. There's no way this isn't happening. Like
Yeah.
Corksicle popped up, the bodies wind up in Anchorage. Come on, somebody's
Yeah.
blowing this thing wide open. But no,
And these are internationally renowned scientists who like wasn't it like Pete was gonna call the families in like one of the first
yeah.
episodes? It's like what?
And they were like, "Well, let's hold off." Like, yeah, I don't understand. And I've seen so many theories on Reddit, like, "Oh, the maybe the scientists like wound up. What did they? The scientists got taken to the crab factory, and got
Oh
put in
yeah,
a flash freezer, and then
yeah,
they took them
yeah,
out on the ice and dug a hole and then filled the hole in with liquid nitrogen." And I'm like, I would prefer that ending to just they died in a fucking avalanche.
yes, exactly.
But I don't know what's gonna happen, man. I could take it in 1,000 different directions, but it's probably gonna be something very basic, like Raymond Clark accidentally killed Annie K. He like was gonna blow the whistle. This is probably what's gonna happen. That's probably what's gonna happen. He and Annie K were investigating the mine and Salal. And the reason he got into it was because of Annie K. He started dating Annie K. She was an environmental,
Hmm.
activist. He got into it. They were going to blow the whistle. She accidentally died in the cave. So he went to the mine, right? His boss, at the mine or whatever, and said, "Hey, I've got a problem. Like Annie died." And they were like, "Cool. We'll help you clean it up because technically you're at fault. You took her into the caves, and we'll make it look like a murder, and then everything will just be fine." And that's probably
Hmm.
how it's going to happen. And the scientist is just going to be an accident.
Yeah,
That's probably what it's going to be. Like Raymond Clark was gonna he like compromised his like beliefs to not rat out the mine in order to not be held liable for her accidental death in the mine.
Yeah.
That's as reasonable as I can make it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he was trying to bring her back to life, like with the trailer and the voodoo doll and the shit drawn on the ceiling. Maybe he like went all in on the
Yeah.
spiritual thing, and he just went crazy. He's probably like a heroin addict. They said he was talking to himself and shit. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be my bet. That's as normal as I can make that ending without it being 100% supernatural.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything else we miss on this episode? I don't know what they're gonna do with Hank's car. Drive it to Fairbanks and leave it? I don't know.
Drive it into the ice.
Just I mean, it is like a 97 like suburban. Like there's definitely no tracking capabilities of that vehicle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, in that, but they make it like this really small town, and then they show like these tracking shots away, and it's like, why does this look like super huge, like Vegas style, like
yeah,
length and width? I don't know, but
I don't know. What do you think happens to Raymond Clark? So obviously they catch him.
yeah,
Do they wind up not doing what they did to Wheeler because they assume that Raymond Clark killed Annie K? Or do they actually
yeah.
take him in and try to make do it right this time?
Uh, I don't know. I think Navarro pops him, like kills him. I don't know. Then she walks out on the ice
My
naked,
money's on
and Marcos
he
is happy.
yeah, he would be happy about that. Uh, my money's on he winds up killing himself. Like he winds up getting free, tackling Navarro or Danvers, getting the gun, and killing himself because he feels bad about Annie dying. And then they just let the mine cover it all up.
The dude's been alive for like, he's alive right now. Why wouldn't he just kill himself already?
I don't know. Because he's getting caught? I don't know. He tried to live out with the nomads for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. If it sucks, I'm gonna laugh, but it's no season one. I'll give it that.
Well, it's Sunday night, so we'll see what happens.
Yep, it's coming up. We're like 2 days away. Yeah.
I'll be watching on a plane on Monday morning. So
Oh yeah. All right. We'll have to hold off on the text messages then. So we usually
yeah,
one of
don't.
us usually blows the lid on it whenever we finish watching it. We're like, holy shit, and then we're all like, I haven't watched it yet. So
Well, I may have to watch it Sunday night, so we'll see.
yeah, 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 man. So yeah, got that to watch. Curve is on again Sunday night. So I don't know. There's not much. What else? Shogun is coming soon to FX.
Yeah.
As
Um.
well as the Three Body Problem Netflix adaptation, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it'll be nice to see Shogun, and then Oppenheimer's now on Peacock. So I mean, it's not a TV show, but um, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's good to have that available.
Question:
Yeah.
Tokyo Vice. You're not
Yeah.
you're only 5 minutes into the second season, and this
Yeah.
is I'm not giving anything away here, and I'm asking about the lifespan of the show. The drops are on Thursday, and they're just dropping at like 2 o'clock in the morning because they're like stream drops, right? Like Netflix does.
Yeah.
Is this show going to get picked up for a third season, or are they just are they just like taking it out to pasture, putting it out to streaming, and then just leaving it on Thursday nights? And then when the season's over, they're done with it. Or, or with True Detective coming to an end, are they about to move Tokyo Vice back to Sunday nights?
Well, it's on Sunday night originally, right?
The first season was,
Yeah.
but now it's on
I don't
Thursday
know.
drops.
Yeah, I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me
It makes
unless
me
they're
worried
just.
that it makes me worried that whoever bought Discovery, Warner
Yeah.
Brothers, whoever it was that bought HBO, right? I'm worried if they're like, okay, they finished the season, we'll just let it finish and then we'll be done with it. I'm afraid they're putting
Yeah.
it out to pasture.
Well, do we know how long Jake Allison worked for the newspaper,
The
and
Mage Show.
like,
He's
you
got
know,
2 books. One is Tokyo Vice. The other is the life and death of a yakuza. And
mhm.
he's got a third book, which is technically he's now labeling it as a trilogy that's coming out this year. So you're
I
gonna
mean,
kill a
maybe they're
show
gonna
when the book
do,
is about to drop. Like, yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
They haven't even
As I,
like they're still on the Yakuza stuff, but like this season, you see him branch into more like socio-political topics for him to like do like stories about. But even in the books, he discovers local government like water contamination and stuff, which is not as sexy as Yakuza and all
mhm.
that stuff. But like he has done a lot in his career, and from what I've heard, he's a very eccentric guy, like very high profile.
Mhm.
You could do a lot with it, but I don't know. It just feels weird that they're just throwing him out Thursday nights out the window. Like, oh hey, by the
Yeah,
way, this shit's on.
yeah, yeah.
So
Especially how good season one was. So
yeah, and this season I've watched all 3 so far the first season, and it's just as good. So
yeah.
I don't know. It crossed my mind when I
Did,
found that out. I was worried about it.
Let me ask you a quick question. Did they find Paulina?
No,
Okay. Well, I
I
just
think
seen the first 5 minutes of the video that they were
yeah,
showing.
they
Uh,
pretty much know what happened, but no,
yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think they do. Unless
All right.
unless I missed that detail, but you can pretty much infer from that video that she ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I infer, but it kind of leaves it vague. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's good stuff. Anything else that you've been watching you want to talk about?
No,
We got a
no.
lot.
It's been all freaking Resident Alien, and
Yeah,
I've been so busy working and going to sleep early and
right.
getting back into running and doing my strength exercises and stuff for my foot. I It's been like a kind of lazy couple of like 3 4 weeks of TV watching, except for True Detective and now Resident Alien. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
work's been crazy like the last 2 weeks. Like you've been doing stuff, I've been doing stuff. I've been racking out early, which is why we haven't put out a podcast. Like we're overdue for a podcast, which is, there's a lot
yeah,
going on. But yeah, it's been hard to focus on a lot of stuff. But with Tokyo Vice coming back on, it's funny because we were talking about that. It's a show you have to watch because there's so much
hmm,
Japanese. I don't I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what the hell they're saying. So like having to watch it and like watch the subtitles, it's a show I have to dedicate to. And I think I'm at my bandwidth limit with just that show. So it's like I want to start Resident Alien, but I'm like, oh
yeah.
my god, I've got like 8 more
Well,
episodes of Tokyo Vice.
and that's, I was gonna do a rewatch of season one, and I was trying to watch it on my phone and like work and stuff I do, and I couldn't because of the subtitles. And then
Yeah.
when I started watching the first episode today, I was watching my laptop next to my computer, and the subtitles were cut off on the bottom.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's why I stopped watching it 5 minutes in, because when Jake was talking to Ken Watanabe in it, like in Japanese, I couldn't see the subtitles cut off.
Yeah. It's a show.
So I'm
It's
like,
a show you got to watch. It's like Succession. You gotta focus in, but it's Succession with subtitles. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, it'll be a good season. I hope they pick it up for a third. We'll see. But that's all I got, man.
cool, cool.
So appreciate
Well,
everybody for
good.
kicking up with us this week. Be sure to check out the podcast platforms, the website, kickingthemedia.com. Check out the Instagram at Can We Kick a Pod. We are generally sharing stuff that's coming out. There's been a new photo from Severance season 2 of what's it, our main guy's name, Adam Scott. Um,
Scat.
so they've been doing little teases, so it's coming. So hopefully we'll get it by the end of this year. But yeah, tune in next week. We'll be talking about the end of True Detective Night Country. We're all in the Night Country now, with Raymond, with Hank Tuttle Jr. And yeah, shoot us any suggestions that you guys have. And as a cousin likes to say,
Peace.